different people have different reasons why they cover. For me, I wanted people to know that, hey, I am a Muslim. I wanted the first 5 seconds that they look at me, I wanted them to know that I was a Muslim before they even found out anything else about me.
So I started wearing hijab in July, on July 19th during Ramadan, which is the holy month that Muslims fast for 30 days.
I was 9 when I started wearing hijab, and I remember like my mom coming to me and asking me whether I wanted to wear it, and I was all like, yeah, I really do, but my reasons at the time for wanting to wear it was like not really religious at all. It was just because my older sister wore it or my older cousins wore it, so I like wanted to be like them. As I've become more aware of it, even if there's been like difficulties, it's been like I've carried on wearing it just because I understand the reason I'm wearing it now and like the purpose of it.
I initially didn't like it in 5th grade because I was very like tomboy and like very like, oh, I don't, you know, you can't tell me what to do. So, and then I went to public school and that was a different experience, and I guess, I don't know if that like affected me in any way, but right after I decided, you know, hey, I want to wear hijab, I was very fascinated by it after that, and just being around people who weren't Muslim at all, who didn't know what this was.
I started wearing hijab when I was 12. It was a personal choice. It wasn't something my parents made me do, but it was like, I always understood that I had to do it at one point in my life.
I finally realized that I really do have to do this, and more not like I have to, but like I wanted to once I realized like what it actually means in Islam and like the whole concept behind it. And I don't know, it kind of was like I have to stand up for my religion and show that, okay, I'm not oppressed just because I wear this. It's like I want to wear it, that's why I started, because no one made me wear it.
When I came here, I applied for any jobs you could think of, Walmart, different like jobs that I went to. Their first view of me wearing a hijab, they completely like did not want me there. I could just see it. They didn't even want to interview me.
In the Bengali community, like if you start wearing hijab, that means like, oh, you're really religious and stuff like that. But it's not like that. It shouldn't be like that at all, but that's just their mentality. And I feel like they look at me in a different way or are a little bit intimidated by me, or maybe they feel like I'll judge them or something like that, but no, it's sort of the other way around where I feel like they're judging me.
I don't know if it's in my head, but I will feel like, oh, people will look at me strangely in like if they come into a class, or people won't come and sit near me, or like they just like, there's like a stigma attached to it.
So one of the friends I randomly met in China was really interested in Islam, and I was talking to her a lot about it, and she asked a lot about the hijab, and a lot of the interns that I was with came up to me and we were discussing it, and they were asking me why I wore it and stuff like that. And whenever we were in one of the big cities, the last couple of days there, she decided that she really wanted to wear one for a day. So she wore like my sparkly silver one for an entire day and walked around the entire city. And at the end I was like, so how was that like for you? And she was like, it was really good. People treated me so differently. And I was like, okay, how? She's like, well, normally storekeepers will like bother me a lot when they want me to buy something, but this time they didn't say anything. And I was like, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I was just walking on West Campus in front of the Union, and this guy comes to me and he was like, do you have any dynamites? And I was like, what? And he repeated himself 2 or 3 times before I could just understand what he's trying to say to me. And I'm like, no, I don't. And he was like, just don't blow up my country. And I was kind of shocked. I didn't know what to say, and he kind of walked off, and I walked off too. But I was just smiling, but I was upset at myself for not being ready to be able to answer them, because it's not. I don't blame him for saying whatever he said. I think it has to do with media. It has to do with the society we live in and the way they show Muslims.
Sometimes if I'm out somewhere and someone will approach me or approach one of my friends or make some sort of like really crude joke about don't blow up my country or don't. Oh, is there a bomb under your hijab or something? Like, we get that kind of stuff all the time. And I even remember whenever, I think it was Saddam Hussein was hung or something, everyone in school came up to me and were like, oh, I'm so sorry your grandfather died. And I was like, that's ridiculous. Like, I should not have to deal with that.
People, like, say things as if they see you as, like, a completely different, like, thing just because you're hijabi. Like, you're not, like, the same. Like, you're not just, like, a human the way they are. Like, one guy has been like, oh, like mocked hijabis like riding a bike, and I'm like, well, she's still a normal person, like why can't she be wearing hijab? And that was like right in front of me. On another experience, I remember being like, oh yeah, I really want to get a Jeep. And this guy was like, but you're hijabi, you can't drive a Jeep. And I was like, but why?
I think it's wrong to look at a small group of people and base an entire 1.6 billion people religion off of that. And whenever I hear these kinds of things like, oh, she's gonna blow up a bomb, like pull out a bomb from under there, I'm just like, I'm the most mellow person ever. I bake cookies and cupcakes with like pink frosting. I don't want to hurt anybody. I can't even step on a spider if I had to. I don't want to blow up a country.
It helps me in the fact that I'm always aware that I am a Muslim and I represent Islam, and I feel the need to be closer to God. And it really helps me improve myself. Before I do anything right or wrong, I think about whether or not it's improving me, if I'm being a good representation of Islam.
Just keeps me more aware, because like people notice you more, because you don't look like everybody else. And it just keeps me aware of like my actions towards others, like it's kind of a reflection on Islam.
I don't think I could ever take it off, because it just makes me really happy, and I feel like if I took it off, then I wouldn't be happy, and it just wouldn't be the right thing to do.
Right now, it's very much become a part of who I am. It's just, I would feel naked without it. I feel like I'm missing like my shirt or something.
It's more of in our favor than against it. Like for women, even in today's society, we're constantly judged by how we look, how we dress, how we act, behave, or what kind of, like if we're following the latest fashion trends or not. Like women are subjectified in all those different aspects. And hijab is there to make people look past all of that and look at your personality, look at like how you are inside versus are you having a good or bad hair day.
I think the purpose of hijab in Islam is actually to empower women, which is very controversial to some people because they see it the opposite way. I feel like if a woman has the choice to cover and she chooses to cover, she chooses to keep herself protected from eyes that don't deserve to look at her that way, that's really empowering to her.
And when she watches the pornography, she actually commits the act of masturbation while she's doing that, right? And she says she feels so guilty and angry at herself that after what she does is she cuts herself.